Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Grit and Equity Talks podcast with yours truly, Dr. India White. I'm thrilled to be here with you guys. I hope that you have had a wonderful start to the new year. To those that have been involved with getting the kiddos ready for school and things like that, I hope you guys are hanging in there. So exciting year, exciting things taking place. And so with that said, I do want to get into my announcements. First things first, First things first, the Grit and Equity Talks podcast with Dr. India White will be featured on the X Factor EDU network, hosted by Dr. Matthew Joseph. You can also find it on Spotify. You can also find me and this podcast on my social media handles. So Facebook is Miss India White, LinkedIn is the India White, Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach, Instagram is Indie238, YouTube is India White 123, and TikTok is Dr. India White. In addition to that, please check out the website www.india-white.com to schedule me for any books, blogs, or any speaking events or any coaching opportunities that you may have. Some other upcoming events. I've got a couple of conferences. I have an elementary math conference. So thankful for Melanie and the tribe on that. Also the NCSM and NCTM conferences I'll see you guys at. Making Math Moments conference. And then, of course, the Black Kids Love Math Summit in November. I'm excited to go over there in LA and to help out there. In addition, please check out the Grit Mini Workshop on the Grassroots Workshops website. Whenever you guys get a chance, my course is titled How to Harness Grit to Help Students Thrive. I'm thankful to be one of the people of color on that platform that is able to offer, professional development and to just kind of help you guys as you're spearheading grit. Thank you to everybody that has been supportive with that. And so again, to remind you guys, if you are trying to close the achievement gap, but you're having classroom management issues or your students just aren't doing the work, then this is the podcast for you. So join me on the Grit and Equity Talks podcast. Also, don't forget to get your grit calendars. Okay, people are asking about that. Get your grit calendars to help you to keep your grit weeks. We've got Growth Mindset Monday, Resilience Tuesday, Self-Efficacy Wednesday, Time Management Thursday, Gritty Friday. So stay gritty, you guys. All right. So with that said, I do want to go into our topic today, which is having a positive mindset for this school year. How do you have a positive mindset, teachers, students, for the school year. So I'm going to just give some general tips that any of you can use if you're striving to have a positive mindset for the school year. So first things first, be grateful. Be grateful you got that opportunity. You have that position. Be grateful you have children. Be grateful you have a wonderful school that you're at, or that you have the curriculum that you need to teach, or whatever it is. Be grateful for whatever your lot in life. Be grateful. I find that many of our issues happen when we wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we're ready to complain. There's a couple of books. There's one, The Positive of Thinking Positive, or The Power of Thinking Positively. It's a great book. I would highly recommend that book. It just really helps you to really challenge yourself and to discipline yourself to really being grateful and to speaking positive throughout the day, so that you're not manifesting all this negative stuff in your life. Yeah, so be positive, be grateful. And then along with that, celebrate your progress and your dreams. So, celebrate the progress you've been able to make up to this point, and celebrate the fact that your child is, if you're a parent, your child is, at the level that they're at and their academics, things like that. If you're a teacher or administrator, celebrate, your growth as a professional, and, just continue to celebrate also your dreams, and to work towards manifesting those, so that you can have a fabulous turnout this 2025-2026 school year. I would also say, get involved in your schools, get involved in your districts, get involved in your communities. Whether you have to help out with gardening, you have to help out with sports, you have to help out with band, you get to help out, right? Not I have to, I get to. So, take that gratefulness and go and find out from the school leaders, how can you get involved? Can you tutor? Can you watch students, after school? What can you do? Okay. There's a room for all of you. Okay. And then I would say, set goals for what you want to accomplish this year. What do you want to accomplish as a teacher? What do you want to accomplish as a parent? What would you have your students to accomplish? If you're an administrator, what does it look like for your school building? And, district leaders, what does it look like for your district? What is it that you guys are trying to accomplish? Make sure you take the data with you. Okay. Because data is your best friend, as we know, and the data will help you get there. So with that said, I was able to find some things for us, and I just kind of want us to look over it together regarding a positive mindset and how to, start the school year strong. So I found this here. Okay. It says how to start the school year with the focus on growth mindset. This is a dive brief. And so it's saying helping students normalize making and reflecting upon mistakes can help them build the confidence they need to navigate. Okay. So beginning the school year prepared for success involves not just having the right school supplies, but also a growth mindset. Says advocates such as instructional coach and former math teacher. Okay, it says a growth mindset is the belief that abilities can be improved with hard work and persistence. So research shows that having a growth mindset on student, or has a positive impact on student motivation and academic performance, as it supports motivation to learn and overcome self-doubt. That's huge, because a lot of students, they do have that sense of self-doubt, especially in the math space. They just don't feel like they're a math person, don't feel like they can do it. And I need teachers to understand that. So many times, as educators, we kind of put ourselves kind of in the student's shoes, but with an assumption that the student has your ability, your intellectual ability, your confidence, doesn't have anxiety, doesn't have, all this stuff, has a bunch of grit. Like we assume. And this is where we run into trouble, because I don't care if the kid is a first grader, second grader, even more so in those grades, you have to be sensitive, because some of these students, they're getting used to having a teacher. Some of these students are still going through culture shock, looking at teachers that don't look like their parents. These students are dealing with hardships, some of them emotional, financial, things like that. And they can't necessarily express them. And then we're trying to throw a math problem in their face. and then wondering why the student isn't really responsive or whether or not engaged. They have a lot of other things. So this is why I emphasize you have to also get to know your students. You have to know who's in front of you and how you can help those kids. Okay, because just getting right to the math, getting right to the academics, can sometimes be detrimental if you have not touched other issues first for your kids. Okay, so please remember that. Let's keep going with this article. So it says now, learning is really a vulnerable act. You need to kind of open yourself up in order to make a mistake and learn from it. And then, of course, when a student makes a mistake, they should not feel like they're the dumbest person in the room. You know, I had a very interesting calculus teacher that I talked about in high school. I look back at that guy and I'm like, what is his issue? But I remembered, taking a quiz in his class, and I had missed the first question. And he said to the class out loud, if you missed problem 1 on this quiz, then you're just stupid. And he looked right at me in front of all my peers. I cannot make this stuff up, y'all. There's some crazy times we lived in back in the day. And I mean, this is in the 2000s. So, but I think of what he said. I would never say that to a student. Like, I mean, that thought just would not, I don't know how he woke up that morning. I don't know what caused him to, he also said, I couldn't do math, and why don't I go do something me and my people could do? He said that too. But anyway, so we know he had issues. But I say this because when students miss those problems and they're making those mistakes, they should not feel like the world has fallen out from underneath their feet. They should feel like they can come back to the table and approach it again. And I think that if you can look at like your acceptance factor, what have you done to create an environment of acceptance and belonging in your classroom when it comes down to academia and productive struggle and getting past those hurdles towards that conceptual understanding, like what have you done to help your kids? So it's something to really keep in mind. Let's keep going as we are diving into keeping a positive mindset. So it says here, students have been trained over time to believe that making mistakes is bad, whether, right, that be through punishment in the form of bad grades, right? And so having also disappointed parents or peer teasing. And then Emma says, however, providing room to make mistakes and learn from them is a powerful way to motivate students and encourage deeper learning. She encourages educators by incorporating a growth mindset strategies as early as possible and to create a comfortable environment for errors. I like that. It says sometimes it's hard to break that fear. So I think the more intentional teachers can be, especially in the earlier grades, the better off students will be and the deeper they're going to be able to learn. Okay, let's keep going. Another strategy she uses is starting the class with the question that has nothing to do with the content. So how many eggs does the average American eat in a year? That's a fun question. Everybody makes a guess, but students are not on guard or worried about a grade because it's very low stakes, right? And they're expected to be wrong. So Emma says that activities like this, they set the tone, that making mistakes in the classroom is expected and that errors, will be discussed as a class, but simply as a part of the learning process. So the more educators have students making mistakes in low stakes environments, it kind of builds that muscle memory of making mistakes so that they don't tense up or get fearful whenever they do make a mistake in a more high stakes environment. Okay. So that's pretty good. And then it says here, it's also important for teachers to think back on their own learning experiences. Chiapetta said. She recommends that educators share stories about mistakes they made as students with their classrooms. Yeah, seeing students or seeing someone they respect admit that they also make mistakes can be reassuring to students and help them relate. Here it says, we need mistakes and we need vulnerability to learn. Teachers should find a way to emphasize with their students and build a culture in which students feel comfortable doing this. It really isn't just a single activity you're doing. It's that's going to change the culture. It's kind of consistently thinking about it and talking about it and normalizing it. So I think it's good. I also think too that there needs to be some kind of culturally responsive relevance and understanding and competency, especially towards teachers, because I find that in the education space, in a traditional setting in the US, is very European in nature, and it feels culturally sometimes like you are in England. And I say that because there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. Being a rule follower is very important, and it's like, it's idolized because the name of the game is keeping order. But when you're learning and trying to have mistakes and learning from those mistakes, sometimes you have to kind of veer from that. There's nothing wrong with that culture. There's nothing wrong with really any culture. I think where we fall prey to culture is when we're not flexible enough to accept other cultures and accept other ways of thinking, other ways of learning. I can't stand teachers that say, do it this way because that's how I do it. When if the student is presenting 4 or 5 ways to do it, why? I mean, knowledge is knowledge, math is math. Why can't that student celebrate the way that they did it? I mean, I understand maybe there's a certain way that you want to do it, and maybe there's a certain way on an exam. But if the kid is understanding it, we should make room for their mind to operate in that way to build that confidence. We're trying to, at the end of the day, we're trying to make sure they're competent. And I think that certain things we do as educators in the traditional setting, it just feels so English, so stiff upper lip, proper. And you're in a Gen Z generation where students are not quite that way. And that's why students are crying out for authenticity. They don't want fake. They don't want coldness and stiffness. They want fun, but they want it in an organized manner, yes. But they also want a teacher that keeps it real, that's authentic, that can help them when they are struggling with something. You know what I mean? And also an environment that's merciful and empathetic. That's what kids want. And I hate it when kids are in these cold, stiff, crazy environments. And so, oh my gosh, I digress from that because I can go on about that for a while. And so, it's just something that we have to think about as educators. Like, what are we doing to create a cozy learning environment for all kids, in particular, kids of underserved communities, kids of diverse populations? So, and they always say, if you want to see how great somebody teaches, present to them the weakest student in the room. However, the weakest student in the room is learning, that is the quality of that teacher. All right, let's keep going. So, all right. So that was that. That was a pretty cool article. Again, you can find this article. This was How to Start the School Year, a dive brief by Brianna Mendez Padilla. Give her flowers. It was a great read. I was able to also find some other things for us, so I'm going to go into some of these. All right. So I think that every school should have some type of PBIS model or resource for those that are trying to figure out, like, how to guide your school. This right here is like a free guide that you guys can find. It's the PBIS guide. It dives deep into insight as to why people behave the way they do and ways to control your responses to difficult behavior. Tips for offering a person-centered, strength-based approach, and the top 3 changes to make support behavior positive. Or, yeah, support positive behavior. I apologize. And then, of course, 10 resources for exploring PBIS with your staff. There's a CPI training right here. I would highly recommend this. You can find this at institute.crisisprevention.com, PBIS resource guide. I would highly recommend you guys look into that because I think it's a great tool that you guys can use as you're trying to build culture, especially if you're like an administrator and you're trying to build culture in the school. Some people do have PBIS schools. I recommend that if you maybe had a PBIS school and then you dropped it, whatever, I would recommend that you look into how can you reinstate it because it is very effective. Okay. I also want to look into another article I was able to find for us. I also want to look into this article that I was able to find for us. This article says why the start of this new school year can be a blessing for students and inspire happiness. Okay. I'm going to go through the bullets here. For one, it's a fresh start. The new year, it represents a blank slate, a chance for students to leave behind past challenges and to start new. This sense of renewal can be incredibly invigorating and provide a positive outlook on the coming year. Why is it uplifting? It's an opportunity for growth. And it's also a break from routine. So you're stepping out of a summer routine and embracing a structured environment that offers a change of pace and new experiences. How to make the most of it? Set personal goals, reflect and plan. Take time to reflect on past experiences and plan for the new year. This reflection will help you to build on relationships or build on strengths and address areas of improvement. Okay, and then they're talking about the next point, building new relationships. Start off the new school year brings a chance to meet new classmates, new friends, and strengthen existing relationships. These social connections can enhance the school experience and contribute to happiness. Why is this uplifting? Well, for one, there's social opportunities. You get to meet new people. That leads to meaningful friendships and social interactions that enriches students' lives. And then building community, it's engaging with peers and participating in group activities that foster a sense of belonging and community. So how to make the most of it? Engage in social activities, encourage involvement in clubs, sports, or extracurricular activities. Okay, be open to new experiences. So approach new situations with an open mind. Be receptive to new people and experiences that can lead to expected and unexpected rewarding connections. Okay. Also, there's the excitement of new learning opportunities. The new school year is filled with opportunities for learning and discovery. Students have the chance to explore new subjects, tackle interesting projects, and expand their knowledge. Okay. So how to make the most of it? Stay curious. Cultivate curiosity-driven approach to learning. Approach new subjects with enthusiasm and eagerness to explore. Celebrate achievements. Recognize and celebrate academic milestones, right, in progress. This positive reinforcement helps you to maintain motivation and enjoyment. Okay. Fourth point, opportunities for personal development. This is why kids enjoy a new year. A new school year provides a platform for personal growth and development. Students can work on building their character, leadership skills, and self-discipline. Why is it uplifting? Because there's self-improvement. The new year is an opportunity to develop those new habits, improve time management, and enhance personal skills. Also, leadership and responsibility. You're taking on new roles, such as being a class representative on a leading project, which helps to build leadership qualities. It also helps students with renewed energy and motivation. Okay. So renewed energy, I love that. It says it starts from renewed energy and motivation. The anticipation of new experiences and achievements can fuel enthusiasm and drive. This is so true. And then, of course, opportunity for self-discovery. A new school year is a chance for students to explore their interests, strengths, and passion. This self-discovery can lead to greater self-awareness and fulfillment. It's all about the kid. It's all about the students. But why is that uplifting? It's uplifting because there's exploration of interests. Students can explore new subjects, hobbies, and extracurricular activities to discover what truly excites them. And personal growth. Understanding oneself better helps in making informed decisions about future and future goals and aspirations. Okay, so this is really neat regarding how we can help our kids. All right, so now I want to share this article about why the start of a new school year can be a blessing for students and inspire happiness. So it says, the beginning of a new school year, it often conjures mixed feelings for your students, feelings of anticipation, right? But then there's feelings of excitement, and then sometimes anxiety or dread. While it's a common practice to focus on the strengths or the stress and challenges associated with returning to school, the start of a new academic year can be a profound opportunity of growth, renewal, and joy. We want that for our kids. Embracing the positive aspects of this transition can turn into what might actually initially feel like a daunting time into a source of inspiration and happiness. So in this guide, we'll explore how to start of a new school year can be a blessing for students and inspire happiness rather than depression. Good. All right. First things first, a fresh start. A new school year represents a blank slate, a chance for students to leave behind past challenges and start anew. Okay? It says this sense of renewal can be incredibly invigorating and provide a positive outlook on the coming year. So it's important that you start fresh as well, teachers. Like don't be that teacher that's bringing up, oh, Johnny, I remember you last year. I know what you did last year. Like, no, please let them have a fresh slate. You're having a fresh slate, let them have a fresh slate. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Why is this uplifting? It's an opportunity for growth. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals, develop new skills, and to strive for personal improvement. Okay. This fresh start can be motivating and exciting. It should be exciting for everyone. Everyone should be excited about school starting. Okay. Also, it's a break from the routine. A new school year means that you're stepping out of that summer routine into a structured environment, which is good. Okay. How to make the most of that? Well, set personal goals and reflect and plan. Take time to reflect on past experiences and plan for the new year. This reflection, it helps to build on strengths and address areas of improvement. Okay. Next, building new relationships. The start of a new year, it brings a chance to meet new classmates, make new friends, and strengthen existing relationships. These social connections can enhance the school experience and contribute to happiness. Why is it uplifting? Because there's social opportunities. You're also building the community. You're engaging with peers and participating in group activities, which fosters a sense of belonging in the classroom and in the community. So how to make the most of it. Engage in social activities. Be open to new experiences. Approach new social situations with an open mind. Be receptive to people and experiences, because that can lead to unexpected and rewarding connections. Yes. Okay. Excitement of new learning opportunities. So this school year, it's filled with opportunities for learning and discovery. So students have the chance to explore new subjects, tackle interesting projects, and expand their knowledge. Why is that uplifting? It's intellectual curiosity, and you have achievement and mastery. So as students gain new skills and knowledge, they experience a sense of accomplishment and confidence. How to make the most of it. For one, stay curious. Cultivate a curiosity-driven approach to learning. Approach new subjects with enthusiasm and eagerness to explore. I hope your kids can hear that. And then here it says celebrate achievements. We just don't do that enough. I have a bunch of GR.I.T certificates, like GR.I.T award certificates. If you guys are wanting something like that, I can definitely help you with that, where you can celebrate your kids and how they're doing, how they've been gritty throughout the year. This positive reinforcement helps to maintain motivation and enjoyment. Okay. Why is that uplifting? Self-improvement. The new year is an opportunity to develop habits, improve time management, and enhance personal skills. Okay. Also, leadership and responsibility. You're taking on new roles, such as being a class representative or leading a project, which builds leadership qualities and responsibility of your students. Okay. So, how to make the most of it? Set personal challenges. Challenge yourself to develop new goals and take on new responsibilities. This is why I said you could definitely use the GR.I.T calendar, okay? Because the GR.I.T calendar is perfect for that. This is a fabulous way for you to connect with your kids, keep them on a gritty schedule, and see how they're making progress throughout the year. And then they can turn and flip through that calendar and see, oh, wow, I've done so much. I've grown so much. Okay, and I've been so gritty. Next, seek feedback. Actively seeking feedback from your teachers, your peers, and your mentors. That's a tool of self-improvement and personal development. Okay. Tip 5, renewed energy and motivation. This is why the start of a school year helps students fight depression and other things, because it's a renewed energy and motivation. They have new friends, new experiences, and achievements can fuel their enthusiasm and their drive. Okay. You get a fresh perspective. So you get to tackle new challenges with a positive attitude, and it increases the motivation of your students, right? It helps them to be excited about starting something new. So how to make the most of it? Create a vision board. Vision board is everything. Channel that excitement and motivation into setting and pursuing goals. Okay. Tip number 6. Opportunity for self-discovery. So the new school year is a chance for students to explore their interests, strengths, and passions. This self-discovery can lead to greater self-awareness and fulfillment. Why is it uplifting? Because it's exploration of interest. Students can explore new subjects, right? And new extracurricular activities, and then personal growth. Understanding oneself better helps you make informed decisions about future goals and aspirations. Okay. And then I will go to this one, number 7, creating lasting memories. The school year, it brings an opportunity to make lasting memories and experiences. School events, projects, and social interactions contribute to a rich tapestry of positive experiences. Okay. You get that pride and satisfaction, that sense of achievement. That was pretty cool. Glad we were able to go over that. And so with that said, guys, I am wishing you all the best as you're doing your best to have a positive mindset for the school year. You've got what it takes to be successful, whether you're a student, parent, teacher, administrator, you've got this. So let's make it happen. Remember my tips that I gave you at the beginning of the show. Be grateful, celebrate those progress and dreams, get involved, set goals for what you want to accomplish. Okay. And so with that said, thanks so much, guys, for joining me on the Grit and Equity Talks podcast with Dr. India White. Remember to follow me on your social media handles. My social media handles, Facebook is Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is India238. YouTube is India White 123. And TikTok is Dr. India White. Check out the website, www.india-white.com for books, blogs, or to schedule me for a speaking event. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at these upcoming events, including NCTM and NCSM. Let's do this. Check out the Grit Mini Workshop for, especially now, you could do it as a PLC for your campuses. I appreciate you guys supporting me in this. And then, of course, if you're trying to close the achievement gap, but you're having classroom management issues or your students aren't motivated to do work, then join me on this podcast. We talk about different topics to help you and to help your students to thrive this year. So with that said, guys, take grit with you. Have a wonderful school year. And until next time, stay gritty. See ya.